Detroit, summer of 1975. The city buzzed with engines and crowds, the sound of progress mixed with the dark echo of something much older, power and fear. On July 30th of that year, one of the most influential names in the United States vanished. He wasn't a politician. He wasn't a Hollywood star. He was a man who controlled thousands of workers and who knew too much. His name was Jimmy Hoffa. How could such a powerful man simply vanish in the middle of the afternoon in broad daylight, just outside Detroit? Why? Who had something to lose if Hoffa climbed back to the top? For half a century, investigators, journalists, and even the FBI chased shadows in search of an answer. But to this day, no one truly knows what happened. Or maybe they do, and chose silence. Introduction to the case. Jimmy Hoffa was the powerful leader of the Teamsters Union, the truck drivers' union, one of the most influential labor organizations in America, but also one of the most deeply infiltrated by organized crime. By 1975, Hoffa had already served time for corruption. But now, he wanted back in. He wanted to regain control of the union, and that, according to investigators of the time, didn't sit well with certain mafia figures. Behind the walls of the Teamsters Detroit headquarters, his influence was undeniable. But after the fateful day of July 30th, there was no sign of Hoffa. That day, Hoffa had a scheduled meeting in Bloomfield Hills, a wealthy suburb of Detroit. The guests? Two mafia heavyweights, Anthony "Tony" Jack Giacalone and Anthony "Tony" Provenzano. But no one showed up. At 2:15 p.m., Hoffa calls his wife from a payphone. He's upset. He says he's alone, and he promises to be home by 4 p.m. Between 2:45 and 3 p.m., witnesses claim they saw him getting into a Mercury Marquis, and then he vanished forever. Kitchen staff saw him around 2 p.m. that day. He was pacing nervously, waiting for something or someone that never arrived. That phone call was the last known trace of Jimmy Hoffa alive. The FBI was called in shortly after. They searched everything, the car, the restaurant, but as agents later admitted, not a drop of blood, not a trace, nothing. A man disappears and takes with him some of the darkest secrets of the 20th century. But this was only the beginning. Behind the scenes of union power, organized crime, and American politics, a plan was being set in motion, and Hoffa was a threat that had to be eliminated. In the next part, we follow the trail of the investigation, the FBI's involvement, and the first clues that might have solved the mystery. A man vanishes, and an entire country goes on high alert. The name Jimmy Hoffa echoed through the halls of power, in newsroom headlines, and now across FBI desks. This was the beginning of a massive investigation, worthy of America's biggest scandals, and the first days would be crucial. August 8th, 1975, first lead. 8 days after Hoffa vanished, the FBI obtained a warrant to search the Mercury Marquis, where Hoffa was last reportedly seen entering. The car was still parked in the same spot, the lot of the Match's Red Fox restaurant. Inside, a small but telling clue. Under the seat, a soda bottle. On it, fingerprints belonging to Charles "Chucky" O'Brien, Hoffa's godson and former close ally. O'Brien denied any involvement. He admitted using the car that day, but insisted Hoffa never got in. The FBI didn't buy it, and from that moment on, he became a prime suspect. September 2nd, 1975, grand jury in Detroit. By early September, public and political pressure mounted. A grand jury was convened in Detroit. For months, dozens of witnesses were summoned. Mobsters, union leaders, businessmen, all were questioned. But as expected, no one talked. The mafia's code of silence, the omerta, held firm. 1975 to 1985, the FBI machine in motion. Over the next decade, the Hoffa case became a monster of paper and frustration. More than 200 agents were assigned across multiple states: Michigan, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Illinois. The FBI compiled over 70 volumes, nearly 16,000 pages of interviews, logs, surveillance records, wiretaps. There were suspects. There were suspicious movements. There were recurring names. Anthony Tony Pro Provenzano, Anthony Tony Jack Giacalone, Chucky O'Brien. All were questioned. Some were even jailed for other crimes. But for Hoffa, no one was ever charged. 1982, death declaration and explosive testimony. 7 years after the disappearance, and with not a single concrete clue, Jimmy Hoffa was officially declared dead. But 1982 also brought a chilling testimony to Congress. His name, Charles Allen, a former mobster under FBI's protection. Allen testified under oath that Hoffa had been executed on Tony Pro Provenzano's orders. And more, he claimed the body had been ground up and dumped in an unknown swamp. Was this the answer? A body that would never be found? Unfortunately, the FBI couldn't confirm a thing. No evidence, no corroborating witnesses. Emerging pattern: dead suspects, silent truths. As the years passed, a disturbing pattern emerged. The most mentioned names were dying off, one by one. Tony Giacalone died in 2001, Tony Provenzano in 1988, Chucky O'Brien more recently in 2020. They took their secrets with them, and maybe the truth. For 10 years, America's top law enforcement agency chased leads, interrogated mobsters, and scoured the country with no answers. But the mystery was far from over, because after 1982, stranger theories would emerge. Secret burial grounds, abandoned horse barns, football stadiums, shocking confessions from serial killers. In the next chapter, we dive into the unofficial theories, the ones that almost made us believe we were close to the truth. July 30th, 1975, the day that would forever be marked as the most mysterious disappearance in American labor history. 2:15 p.m., the beginning of the end. Jimmy Hoffa leaves his home in Bloomfield Township, Michigan. Driving his green metallic Pontiac, he heads to the Machus Red Fox restaurant, located in the Detroit suburbs. According to police statements, Hoffa had arranged a meeting with Anthony Tony Jack Giacalone and Anthony Tony Pro Provenzano, both notorious mafia figures. It was supposed to be just a conversation, but in that parking lot, Hoffa vanished without a trace. The mystery car connection. Hours later, police found Hoffa's green Pontiac abandoned. It was locked, but there were no signs of struggle. It was parked in a straight line from the restaurant's entrance. Forensic tests revealed no unusual fingerprints or blood traces, but a disturbing detail emerged later. According to the FBI, a strand of hair matching Hoffa's DNA was found in a car borrowed by Charles Chucky O'Brien, Hoffa's stepson, who had used the vehicle that day. Chucky has always denied any involvement, but that single strand of hair became one of the most hotly debated pieces of this puzzle. The police response. Within the first 24 hours, Hoffa was officially declared missing under suspicious circumstances. The FBI launched Operation Disappearance, deploying over 200 agents nationwide. In the following days, the FBI questioned several high-ranking figures. Tony Giacalone claimed he had no meeting scheduled with Hoffa. Tony Provenzano stated he was bowling in New Jersey. Both alibis were weak, but not enough to charge them. Two of the most feared mobsters in the country denied any connection to Hoffa's disappearance. But both had motive, a violent history, and the power to make someone vanish. The mafia pattern Hoffa's disappearance followed a well-known Cosa Nostra tactic. No body, no crime scene, no one arrested. The most powerful man in American unions vanished in broad daylight. But if Jimmy Hoffa didn't disappear alone, who was with him in that parking lot? Jimmy Hoffa's disappearance didn't just leave a void in the labor world. It left behind a trail of questions, suspects, and disturbing confessions. The Irishman theory. In 2004, former prosecutor Charles Brandt published the book I Heard You Paint Houses, based on years of interviews with Frank Sheeran, known as the Irishman, a former union official and mafia hitman. According to Sheeran, I was the one who killed Jimmy. Sheeran claimed Hoffa was lured to a house in Detroit under the pretense of a meeting. There, he was shot in the back of the head, and his body was anonymously cremated in an industrial incinerator. A confession that caused a media storm, but with no physical evidence, it remained just that, a story. Cremated in an incinerator, some investigators considered the theory plausible. Hoffa vanished around 3 p.m., and an industrial crematorium was located less than 30 minutes away, the stadium theory. Another widely publicized theory suggested Hoffa was buried under the Giants Stadium in New Jersey, then under construction in 1976. We received intel that Hoffa was transported to New Jersey inside a refrigerated truck. But excavations conducted decades later found no trace. The stadium's management has always denied any involvement. Despite the folklore, no evidence ever tied Jimmy Hoffa to the concrete of Giants Stadium. The meat truck theory. According to Marvin Elkind, a former mafia driver, Hoffa was killed and hidden inside a truck carrying frozen meat. The truck was loaded for export. It left Detroit headed for Canada. It was never searched. This theory gained traction due to the total absence of remains and the mafia's control over ports and international logistics. Several analysts believe Hoffa was betrayed by his inner circle, especially Chucky O'Brien, his godson, who is believed to have served as the intermediary that day. The FBI found a strand of Hoffa's hair in the car used by O'Brien, though he has always maintained his innocence. Chucky had everything to lose if Hoffa returned to power, but he also had everything to prove. Was he just a pawn or something more? The wall of silence. Over the decades, all suspects remained silent. Witnesses died, mobsters were murdered, or refused to cooperate. No one talks about Hoffa. His name is forbidden. Despite years of investigations and hundreds of leads, the FBI never brought formal charges. Jimmy Hoffa's disappearance became the embodiment of impunity, of vanishing without a body, a crime without a criminal. A man disappears in broad daylight, dozens of indirect witnesses, suspects with motives, and not a single conclusive piece of evidence. Jimmy Hoffa became more than a name. He became an American enigma. The mystery's resilience. Even after Hoffa was officially declared legally dead in 1982, the FBI kept the case open. Over the decades, dozens of new leads surfaced, and with them, increasingly sophisticated searches. According to declassified FBI documents, the case remains technically active due to the absence of physical remains or any conclusive confession. The Milton William O'Brien Farm Dig, 2006. Location, Milford Township, Michigan. Name linked, O'Brien, a known associate of the Detroit Mafia. According to a 2006 NBC News report, the FBI conducted excavations at a property suspected to be a body disposal site. The search included cadaver dogs trained to detect human remains, heavy excavation crews, soil and biological residue analysis. Nothing was found. Soil analysis tested negative for human DNA. During the 2010s, the investigation took a high-tech turn. Authorities began using cutting-edge forensic tools, deep penetration, ground-penetrating radar drones equipped with infrared spectrometry, advanced DNA testing using samples from living relatives. One deeply personal moment marked this phase. Hoffa's daughter, Barbara Ann Crancer, provided her DNA in the hope that one day her father's remains could be identified. The New Jersey landfill excavation, 2022. Location, industrial dump site near the Pulaski Skyway Bridge, New Jersey. Decades after Hoffa's disappearance, another tip made headlines and caught the FBI's attention. Frank Coppola, a former equipment operator with alleged mob ties, claimed Hoffa's body had been sealed inside a metal drum and buried in an industrial landfill. The story first aired in 2021 on Fox Nation. By early 2022, the FBI had launched an official excavation. In November 2021, investigators conducted deep digs and forensic soil analysis. Then in July 2022, the FBI released a statement. The investigation was carried out with professionalism and commitment. To date, no human remains or conclusive evidence linked to Jimmy Hoffa have been found. So many leads, so many names, so much silence, yet no bones, no certainty. What can bury a man and keep the truth buried for nearly 50 years? Think about it. If Jimmy Hoffa was truly murdered, someone dug his grave. But who orchestrated the silence? Who protected this secret for generations? Jimmy Hoffa disappeared, but Hoffa never truly left. Hoffa, the man, the myth, the symbol. To some, he was a hero of the working class. To others, a charismatic criminal. To everyone, a name impossible to forget. Jimmy Hoffa wasn't just the president of the Teamsters. He was a social phenomenon, a man who challenged presidents, faced down gangsters, organized historic strikes, mobilized millions, and vanished without a trace. His figure became untouchable, almost mythological, as if his disappearance turned Hoffa into a symbol. Greater than history itself. Impact on society. In the media, Hoffa's disappearance inspired documentaries, best-selling books, acclaimed films like The Irishman by Martin Scorsese, and endless references in American pop culture. In politics, his mysterious death became a turning point. Used to argue for stronger federal laws against organized crime, increased surveillance of unions, deeper investigations into institutional corruption. When truth is too inconvenient, we create a myth to contain it. The absence of a body gave rise to wild theories, but also to a cult. Hoffa became a national enigma, a metaphor for the workers' struggle, and a symbol of impunity. Men came, presidents passed, unions changed, but Jimmy Hoffa remained. In 1982, he was declared legally dead, but there was no body, no burial, no real end. For his daughter, Barbara Crancer, that was the cruelest part, to bury a name without ever burying a father. Barbara became a federal judge. She tried to honor her father's name, distancing herself from scandal but never silencing her grief. Today, Hoffa's name is studied in law schools, labor history courses, and debates on political ethics. In the end, maybe Hoffa achieved something few ever do. He became eternal, not for what we know, but for all that we never did. What's worse, to die or to disappear and live forever in doubt? Jimmy Hoffa wasn't simply erased. He was transformed into a silence that never stopped screaming. Decades have passed, presidents have changed, the mafia has evolved, but the truth remains buried. If you appreciated this investigation, subscribe to the channel, share the video, and leave a comment below. Do you believe Jimmy Hoffa is truly gone? Or could he still be alive, somewhere out there?